So what's going on, y'all? This video is going to be a little bit different than the ones I've done in the past. I am going to be starting a series on some of the books that have changed my life completely. Whenever I post books like on Instagram or stuff like that, a lot of people ask me about the book. What book is it? What did I think about the book and things like that? So I wanted to start making these videos to just kind of get in front of some of those things. So like I said, these are life-changing books that you as an entrepreneur or just really an individual in general need to read. There are so many gems in these books that I literally can't keep them to myself. Whenever I read one, I just immediately post it. And maybe if you've already read some of these books, these can serve as more of a different perspective to the book that you've already read so that you can possibly see it in a different way or resonate with some of my thoughts with some of these books. And I'm going to just say this. I think reading is a great way to elevate your mind, change the way you think, and just do an overall makeover of the inside of you. You're able to really connect thoughts and wisdom from different books and different things that you've read and different life experiences that you've been through and use them to make yourself a better person in general. So I really encourage reading to anyone who is trying to be a business person, an entrepreneur, or someone who's trying to elevate themselves in life. So I'm Nate, and in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you the life-changing lessons that I learned after reading Darren Hardy's The Compound Effect. So I'm going to tell you this little story. So one day I was working back in Indianapolis. I was working at an architecture firm, and I was in the car with one of my mentors who just happens to be a principal of that firm. So we were chatting and we were talking about one of the projects we're working on. It's a residential project, and he just happens to know the person who's doing this project. So the person was actually a successful business person. He was like number 2 at this big company, and he was designing his second $4 million home in Indy. And so he was talking about conversations that him and the guy who was building the home would have, and him back at that time asking the guy what he was up to, like what he was investing in, what he was doing, because he was getting this level of success even then at a young age. So my mentor told me that the guy referred him to the book, The Compound Effect. And you know, he said at the time, he was like, yeah, you know how people do. Yeah, I'll read it. Yeah, sure, yeah. And he just never did. Up until he got like in his 40s or 50s or something. And this was the thing that really caught my attention. He said one of his biggest regrets in life was not reading that book when he was supposed to. Because the things that he learned in that book, if he had applied them in his 20s, he would have been in a totally different spot than he is right now. So guess what I did? I went and got the book that same day. I need that. I wasn't about to miss out on that knowledge. So if you haven't read the book, The Compound Effect by Darren Hardy, I strongly suggest that you read the book. There's a lot of life-changing lessons in there, trust me. But this right here is going to be more of a personalized analysis of the book. So while you're listening to this, take everything I say with a grain of salt, because you have to go read it for yourself to really understand these things. But I believe the things I'm going to share right now, you can apply them to your life right now. So without further ado, let's jump in. So I'll give you guys a quick synopsis. So the book is actually a guide to change your day-to-day activities to overall change your life. So Darren wrote the book to serve as a guide to take control over the small things and the small decisions you make on a daily basis that accumulate and result in the success or failure you have over time. So lesson number 1 that I learned from the book. So you have to be able to upgrade your goals into habits. So the idea behind the compound effect is basically saying that short changes over a long period of time are more effective than huge changes over a short period of time. So Darren gives us a pretty simple formula to explain further this concept. Small short choices plus consistency plus time equals radical difference. He also gave some examples to kind of illustrate this. So this is one of them. Would you rather take a single penny that doubles every day for the next 31 days? Or would you rather take $3 million in cash? Well, technically, a lot of people would say the $3 million in cash right now, especially because of the time factor. But in reality, if you double a penny for 31 days, you get a little over $5.3 million. And I'm gonna give you this other quiz, right? You take 3 different people. The first person makes no significant changes, whether good or bad. The second person adds 1 beer to their life every week, and he watches TV in his downtime. And then the last person works out and eliminates about 200 calories every day and read 10 pages of a book, which isn't that much if you really think about it. Which of these 3 people do you think will be in the best position even 2 years down the road? And that's a rhetorical question. Bottom line, the small choices that we make every day impact the results that we receive in the future. Simple. Because those small choices start to turn into habits. You getting what I'm saying? And it happens without us even realizing it. So how do you apply this to your personal life? So if you're eager to change the outcomes of your life, start setting goals, whether they're financial goals, career goals, health goals, mental health goals. You want to start setting goals, and then you start to break those goals down to actionable steps, and then further down to daily actions that you can take towards those steps to take towards those goals. And then over time, those actionable daily steps start to turn into habits. And then before you know it, you're where you want to be. So since I've talked about small actionable steps, let's go on to number 2, creating actionable and practical routines that fit within your lifestyle and the things that you do on a daily basis to then form into your goals. So when my mentor was telling me about his friend, he also told me about how he built those habits. He also told me about how he used the book. He said at the time he was saving about $1,000 of what he made, which I have no idea what it was at that time, and he was putting it into mutual funds. And what I'm guessing is that since he was able to build that initial habit, over time as he started to make more money, he started to save more money. And then at the same time, the money that he was saving also was growing. So that's a routine that he started. And as entrepreneurs, individuals, or business owners, or creators of any sort, we need to start forming these actionable, small, realistic routines that will help us to reach the output we desire in life. And also think about it in years, right? 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. We need to think longer term. So how do you apply this to your personal life? So first you have to examine your routines. You have to examine the things that you do on a daily basis. Are these things helping you or hurting you? Are these things getting you more towards your goals, or are they pulling you back further? But even before that, you have to figure out what is your desired lifestyle. What do you want to be? Who do you want to be? And then work backwards. So then you say, okay, if the habits that you're doing right now are not helping you, then you stop them. It's pretty simple. I'm not saying it's easy at all, but it's simple. And sometimes we lack that practicality in our lives because there's so many things going on. But sometimes we just need a book or a person to say, hey, this is what it is. It's a simple way to do it. Let's do it that way. So think about it like this. If you're a person who doesn't read a book for a year and then you try to read like 10 books in like 1 week, that's probably not sustainable. And it hurts a lot more than just reading 5 to 10 pages of a book every day, or even every week, or even just a few times a week, because that's going to get your mind in a cadence of doing it. And it's going to start to become even more realistic for you in your current lifestyle. And that's important because as you're doing this, you're building momentum. And while we're on the topic of momentum, I'm going to go on to lesson number 3, which is don't stop the momentum, which is widely known as the snowball effect. And if you stop the flow of the snowball, then it can't get bigger. So I'm going to teach you a little bit of physics here. I didn't do that good in school, but this is something that I learned that really stuck with me. So what is momentum? Momentum is mass times velocity. And so you might ask, what is velocity? Okay, velocity is displacement, which is pretty much the change in position over time. So I'll break that down for you. So if you take any of those components out of momentum, then you lose momentum. So I'll break that down a little bit more for you. So let's say saving is your momentum builder, right? If you take the money aspect out of saving, which is your mass, then you get no momentum. If you take the time aspect out and you don't allow a time to grow, then you get no momentum. And if you change the placement to the wrong thing, let's say you take it out of a high growth account and you put it into just a bank account that's losing money due to inflation and depreciating in value, then you get no momentum. So Darren clearly states that it takes time and energy to build momentum. But when you have those different things, results can compound very rapidly by just having these small and consistent routines. So a lot of people ask me, how do you stay consistent on social media? How do you stay consistent with the business? Well, you've got to look at your lifestyle and see what you can change that you can keep up with. You got to identify what things you can insert to your lifestyle and the things that you can take out that don't make much of an impact now. And then as you keep doing that and doing it more and doing it more, then you start to build those habits. And then over time, you see change. So how do you apply these things to your personal life? First of all, you have to repeat those healthy actions long enough to establish new habits. And then these new habits build momentum over a period of time. That momentum will help you stick with those habits even when times get tough, because you look back and you say, look how far I've come. But you can only build that momentum if you apply the first and second things I just said. So in conclusion, there you have it. My top 3 lessons that I've learned after reading Darren Hardy's the compound effect. So I highly recommend you guys watch this video over and over again. Repeat it if you have to, write some notes, and let that information really sink in. And like I said in all my other videos, it takes real action to see results from all of this stuff. You gotta do it. So what are your biggest takeaways from this video? I wanna hear from you guys. If you've already read the book, let me know what you thought down below. Let me know if there's anything that I missed that you caught. Let's just get some different perspectives. And if you think this could bless someone that you know, go ahead and share it with them. And once again, I'm Nate. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.